going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise Postgame show powered by BetUS. Today, the Portland Trail Blazers play a forgettable game in San Antonio, losing to the Spurs 114-94. Victor Wembanyama records 10 blocks, and stifles the Blazers offense as the Blazers cannot put three digits on the board. And this was just a pretty brutal game to watch, a pretty brutal game to talk about. But we're going to get through all of it, all the pain from this one. And we're going to have some more trade discussions because it's basically trade season now. Also, it's members night. I'll tell you what that means here in a second. Eric, how's it going?
Oh, it'd be better if I didn't have to watch that game.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the worst games of the year for the Blazers. And coming off the heels of their super exciting buzzer-beating win against Denver, I'm a bit let down. I thought they would be a little bit more competitive in this one, but you could kind of tell early on. Let me know if you disagree with this, chat and Eric, but I feel like you could tell within the first 3 minutes of the game that, oh yeah, this is going to be one of those games where they don't score and they lose by probably 20. You could feel it pretty early, I thought.
Yeah, the Spurs weren't doing much either, but this was a very weird, sloppy game at the beginning. And it started with, like, the first possession, Jeremy fouls Wemby, and then they got cross-matched, and it seemed like their plan for defense, if Jeremy was not on Wemby, was just to leave Wemby wide open and not do anything. And Wemby, it took him a couple plays to realize that that was what was happening.
Yeah.
But I couldn't understand what the heck the Blazers game plan in this one was.
Yeah, so, Jeremy Grant guards Wemby for the better part of this game, just like he did in the last time these teams played. And the way you guard Wemby, since they play Sohan next to him and he's not a shooter, is you put your center on Sohan and he can roam off of him and protect the rim, and then you put Jeremy Grant on Wemby. You put like a long, lengthy forward that can run him off the three-point line, deal with him around the perimeter, and funnel him downhill towards your big.
But DeAndre Ayton is a long, athletic player that should be playing power forward, I thought.
Yeah, no, he should not be playing power forward, man. So there's multiple narratives to get into from this game. Recently, we had a stream where we talked about DeAndre Ayton's interview in practice where he was begging to play begging to play the power forward position and just wanted to run to the corner and shoot a three in transition like one time. I'm paraphrasing it, but basically something along those lines. He got a corner three in this game, missed it by 3 feet. Not great. And he's not the matchup for Wembanyama. There's a play early on in this game where Ayton basically ran away from Wembanyama at the three-point line and told Kamara, who was like 25 feet away from him, to go guard him. No, it didn't seem like anybody on this team wanted any part of Wembanyama, except we kept shooting shots like into him that he had an easy time blocking, and it was like, just don't shoot against him. You just can't. The dude's a freak. He's called an alien for a reason, right? Like he's out of this world. And the Blazers got their shots blocked 10 times. That's insane. And I get it. You got to be aggressive. You can't be completely scared of him or else you're never going to put points on the board. But it's just a bad guy for this Blazer team to face. We know this Blazer team struggles shooting the three-point ball, and that's how you neutralize a guy like Wemby, is you just spread it out, especially if you have a stretch five that can pull him out of the paint, and then you can beat him to the rim a little bit easier. But the Blazers don't have the three-point shooting or the stretch big, although Klingon hit a three again today, which is nice to see, but he's not a stretch big yet. So it just kind of plays into his hands where you're driving downhill at this dude all game long, and it's really tough to score the ball. You're muted, by the way.
Unless the Blazers were shooting a high percentage from three, like they have a few games this year in wins, you knew this was not going to be their night tonight when they were constantly getting blocked. And even some of their three-point shots got blocked, like that one by Jeremy in the corner. But, man. This team has an issue with I hope this isn't the case. Obviously, they played well last game, but it's going to look like this, I think, at least until the trade deadline, with just the uncertainty of everyone on the roster. And you could kind of sense that tonight, just them not really really playing together or playing with any sort of purpose or anything like that. It was a lot of individual stuff tonight, and the assists weren't good tonight like they had been over the last couple weeks. And I, I don't know, man. Wemby's a tough guy to scheme against, but it just seemed like we didn't even have a scheme really. It was just I don't know.
Yeah, it was clunky early on offensively, and that's where I got the feeling that I was talking about at the start of the stream, where like, oh, this is going to be one of those games where they struggle to score the ball, simply because you can't run stagnant offense against Wemby. You just can't. It allows him to set himself up where he can help and destroy every possession around the rim. And I don't know, like we don't do a great job of generating the most open threes. Like I feel like our open threes are because it's shooters that defenses don't respect. But like Jeremy, man, getting blocked by Wemby, that's a shot that doesn't get blocked by anybody else in the league, you know? So, I mean, what really can you do? It's tough to account for that as a basketball player where, like, you're always shooting that shot confidently, but now it's something completely different than what you're used to, right? And you, as a shooter, you can't be thinking too much about whether to shoot or not, or else you won't shoot confidently and you won't make a good enough percentage of your threes. So plays like that is just, it's why Wembanyama's great. It's why he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. It's why he's an absolute game changer, game wrecker defensively. And if the Spurs keep winning games, he belongs in MVP conversations, in my opinion, because this team without him is maybe like Utah Jazz bad, but they're above 500, and they look like a legitimate like back end of the playoffs type of team with him. And just imagine once this dude gets some like legitimate talent around him, it's going to be a problem for the league for the next 10 to 15 years. It's going to be a problem for the Blazers for the next 10 to 15 years because one day the Blazers are going to have to figure out how to beat a guy like this. And it's not going to be easy. You know, you got OKC, you got San Antonio ready to run the league for a while, or at least run the West for a while. And yeah, I mean, I just gotta give props to Wembanyama, man. Normally we don't come on these streams and start talking about the opponent and start talking about opponent players and this and that. Like if somebody goes off, it's like we should have done this, we should have done that. Like we didn't guard him well. But in this case, 7'4" freak, like blocks 10 shots, you can't score, you don't make threes. You know, Shaedon Sharpe was like the only guy that made threes in this game, which is funny because he had been struggling with his three-point shot. He was 3 for 6. The rest of the team was 9 for 37 from three. That is under 25%. So not going to get it done. Rebounding was a little bit of an issue. You gave up 12 offensive boards, and they were kind of like momentum-breaking offensive rebounds as well. But like Charles Bassey had 4 offensive rebounds in 18 minutes. It wasn't even Wemby. He had 3 in 30 minutes. It was Charles Bassey more than anything. He had 12 rebounds in 18 minutes. Kind of wild for him. But yeah, man, I don't even know, Eric, where to go with this game in terms of like breaking it down, simply because offensively you don't make threes and you got somebody like Wemby. And, you know, we've talked about sets and they don't run good enough actions. We know that. Outside of that, you know, when you're not making threes, don't run good stuff, and face a guy like this, you're going to have a long, long night, and you're going to struggle to put 100 on the board. So that's what it was.
Yeah, I was excited to see if Klingon could guard Wemby at all, and that was a disaster tonight. Klingon looked a step slow tonight. He does that sometimes. At other games, it doesn't seem like it's an issue, but in this particular game, it just felt like he was stuck in mud. And also, in his career, both college and pro so far, he hasn't really had a ton of issues with fouling, but he has recently, and just like kind of dumb fouls or like fouls that he normally doesn't get fooled on, and he's getting fooled and reaching instead of going vertical a lot. And so something to keep your eye on. Hopefully, it's just he's still not trusting his knee fully, and that's why he isn't moving as well back there. He did come back relatively quickly in terms of how long most people expected him to be out with that injury. But just something hopefully that gets better as he gets back into playing shape and stuff is that he's got to be better. He can't get 3 fouls that quickly, and he can't fall for the things he's falling for right now.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's start off with the one positive, Eric. basically the one positive from this game. I'm not even going to do a player of the game poll because the player of the game is obviously Shaedon Sharpe. He's the only guy that showed up offensively in this game for the Blazers and had himself a very efficient night, which is good to see. 11 for 16 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. 3 rebounds, not a single assist for Sharpe in 31 minutes, but 25 points on 16 shots, 11 for 16 shooting. You like that? Just kind of a weird box score because he didn't make a free throw. It was 0 for 1 from the line as well. The Blazers just did not get to the free throw for this entire game basically at all. They had 3 free throws at halftime, finished with 9. One of those was a Jabari Walker and one with 0.1 left in this game. So that's the other thing, too, is when you're missing shots, if you can get to the line, you can generate some efficient offense, and that was also not a thing for the Blazers tonight. But Sharpe was a bright spot. This is 2 good games in a row, okay? 2 good games in a row. We've seen him have 2 good games in a row before, and I'll just lead into it with this. Really nice to see him have a good game. Really nice to see him have a couple good games. He had been struggling, especially shooting the 3 ball, so it was really good to see him go 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. We need to see some more. Hopefully this is the start of him chaining together games where we can start looking at it like, oh, we can expect this sort of thing from Shaedon Sharpe night in, night out. Because past 2 games are just like, oh, Sharpe had 2 good games. But okay, when does this become the status quo for him? I don't know. So it's the balance between appreciating a good performance from Sharpe, and he's the only guy that performed well offensively tonight, but also, you know, I'm not going to get too high or too low, as you say, Eric, because this is the type of game that we need to see more from him, and hopefully he's starting to figure some things out, but I feel like I've said that multiple times before, so I don't know where that leaves us, so I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily a Sharpe thing, but why, if Sharpe starts cooking, why did Chauncey take him out like right away in the first quarter? And then Ant hits 2 threes in the third quarter and Chauncey takes him out right away. Like,
Tanking,
I think,
man. He has his directive.
That's what it is. They wanted to lose. But yeah, I thought Sharpe was pretty good tonight. His first like 3 shots were all really tough jumpers, though. It wasn't like he was doing something different or we were doing something to get him involved, really. So he just happened to make some shots that he, when he struggles, misses. And so I don't know if it was anything necessarily special, but yeah, it was good to see him actually make some threes and have a nice shooting game, because that was something that needed to be done. And of course, we know you get him in the open court and look what happens. Couple of nice plays there. And that also helps your shooting percentages when you get out in the open floor and get open dunks and stuff like that. So good to see. Good game from him. Unfortunately, I think that's the only person in this game we can say that about.
Yeah, absolutely. You started off this game with a couple mid-range jumpers, little stop and pop jumpers, which is nice to see him hit. The 3-point ball when it's going in just makes everything a lot easier for him. It still wasn't like he really got to the rim a whole lot, but maybe he was the only smart guy on the team where he's like, yeah, let's not try and challenge Wembanyama at the rim, even though what's funny is Sharpe is like the one guy who maybe could. Yeah, it was just nice to see, man, and hopefully he can figure out his 3-point shot, because before these past couple games he was shooting a worse 3-point percentage than Scoot. And Scoot continues to struggle. Scoot was 2 for 4 from 3 tonight, so I guess I'll take 50% from both these guys that were shooting under 30%. But yeah, man, it's tough for me to even talk too much about Sharpe, because the shots he made tonight, we know he's capable of making. Mm-hmm. Nothing he did today surprised me in the slightest. Like, there was nothing tonight where it was like, oh, that's new, or oh, that's... No, everything tonight was like, oh, yeah, Shaedon Sharpe can score. He can score. When he's hot, he can put together a big scoring game. While everybody else on the team sucks and you got the defensive player of the year on the other side of the floor, he's still capable enough of putting together an 11 for 16 night, 25 points on the board. But it's just the consistency factor, man. It's the consistency factor. If he has 3, 4, 5 more games like this, then I'm starting to get excited. Then I'm starting to sit here and say, man, maybe Sharpe's putting it together, because this is the most consistent stretch of his career. He's had 2 game flashes. He's had 5-game flashes last year. Like, he had a 5-game stretch where he was this good every single game. So it's just a consistency factor. And, it's not like I don't mean to make that sound negative in any way, because he is 21 years old, so he has time to figure it out, and you wouldn't expect a 21-year-old to necessarily be super consistent yet, outside of guys like Wemby. But I just want to see progress towards more consistency. I want to see him have these types of games more often. And he really struggled recently. Hopefully turn it around with these 2 games, and we'll see a couple games from now, the next couple of games. Are they the Shaedon Sharpe that showed up tonight, or is it the Shaedon Sharpe that was showing up before the last 2 games? And it's going to be interesting to watch the next couple of games just to find out what type of Sharpe we get.
Yeah. And love to see some sort of offensive game plan next game to keep his momentum going early in the game and keep him being aggressive, instead of taking him out after 3 or 4 minutes. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably a good thing that he didn't do anything crazy tonight. But like his first basket's like a fadeaway 2-point shot from a step in front of the 3-point line and stuff. It's like that goes in, yeah, but like it wasn't necessarily a good shot, but he was hitting them tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, that's all I have to say on Shaedon Sharpe. We're going to talk about some of the players that struggled. But first, I want to remind you guys that our event for tonight is a members-only night. A members-only night. Let me toss this up on the screen. There we go. Members-only night. So, if you're a channel member, what we're going to do tonight, it's not a call-in night, except for channel members. If you want to call into the show, the second half of the show, we'll take a couple call-ins from channel members. If you're not a channel member, then you can click the join button below to become one, and we'll do a little Q&A at the end, a members-only Q&A as well. And then we also have some members-only stuff that I want to do in the new year for channel members, so we'll announce that a little bit later tonight after Tankathon. It's draft related. So just celebrating you guys that support the channel, because the cheapest membership is $2. It's less than a cup of coffee, which I know is very cliche to say. If you go on Wikipedia ever, you always see, hey, can you donate $3? It's less than a cup of coffee. But it adds up, and the support means a lot, so this is our way of celebrating our channel members with their names in greens. Those are the legends of the chat. Anyway, let me toss this ugly score back up. All right, let's get into the negative, man. I mean, there's really not much else that was positive from this game, right?
Right.
Well, Ayton had 3 dunks.
We did do a good job of throwing a lob. That was like all we did, though, in terms of passing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like our identity, is we are trying to be Lob City, but we suck. So, but Ayton, 7 for 11, 8 boards, 14 points, 2 assists, 0 for 2 from 3. I know he hit a couple threes at the start of the season, but he's hit threes in Phoenix before. He's never going to be a legitimate 3-point shooter. It's just never going to happen. Like, I had no faith before the season, but I have even less faith now, Eric. It's just not there. It's just not going to happen. I will say, there was back-to-back possessions where he actually sprinted down the floor in transition defense, and I was proud of him for that, because I can't remember the last time I saw him actually like run back in transition 2 possessions in a row.
What about the other 40?
Hey, man, we got to start somewhere, and I got
2 in a row is a new record.
I got to start somewhere. Okay, so I don't know. I'm tired of the minutes breakdown between him and the centers, and it's
Yeah, well, I mean, tonight, Clayton gets those 3 fouls. It's part of it, I guess. So I can't be too mad about that tonight. But yeah, overall, it's an issue.
Yeah,
like we talked about last game.
So here's the thing: Robert Williams' second straight game, he doesn't shoot a shot in 12 minutes. Eric.
Yep.
So we are just going to
It's not
barely
getting
play
the
him,
flow.
risk injury. He's not going to get into the flow or the rhythm of the game, and he's statistically going to suffer. And that's going to help his trade value how? Because I just don't understand playing this guy such limited minutes. You might as well just sit him. I don't understand how it helps his trade candidacy. And I don't understand like how it helps the team. If you want to keep him with Klingon next year, okay, you got Ayton. You don't have to play Robert Williams if you plan on keeping him. So I just still don't understand what the strategy is there. And him playing next to Klingon is just never going to be good floor spacing unless Klingon becomes Brook Lopez from 3, which I don't know. Maybe he will because he hit a 3 today and he hit a 3, last game or the game before? So that's still, small volume, a work in progress for him. It's good to see him knock down some threes, but I still think he's only hit 5 or 6 on the season. So it's still a work in progress, and I still don't like those lineups with those two guys together.
Taylor says he thinks racking up the games played number might be beneficial. Maybe that's
maybe. Yeah.
They're just trying to say, hey, he's played in 27 games this year or something at the trade deadline.
Yeah. I did a chat poll, by the way, too. Most frustrating part of the team.
We're going to have to talk about that for sure.
Yeah, I'll let the poll run a little bit longer, and then we can talk about the results. But, I mean, Ayton, I guess, is the only other positive there because Scoot 4 for 10. I guess that might be positive shooting numbers for Scoot, unfortunately. 4 for 10. Denny was 2 for 12. This was just the first bad Denny game he's had in a while. But, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. He still did other things in this game. And he was 0 for 3 to start this game and, got 2 offensive rebounds on it and battled for those boards. And it's like, yeah, okay, the third one gets blocked. They go the other way. But it's like, the dude's fighting on the interior. He missed shots in close, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. His 3 was off
for the first time in a while today too.
Yeah, the thing is, the misses weren't bad at all. Mm-hmm. It's worrisome when the misses start getting real bad, but when it's like a bunch of in and outs or back rims or barely short, that's just variance of shooting the basketball.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Wes Davidson. He says with 3 centers, Ayton should play lower minutes and be told to up his intensity and stuff and not worry about getting tired or in foul trouble. Yep. I completely agree. Yeah, that's how they should play all of them. Yeah.
Yep. Avdia, I don't really have anything else to say on him. Grant, Eric, let's have the Grant conversation. In this game, in 30 minutes, Jeremy Grant scored 5 points, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 block on 2 for 12 from the field and 1 for 6 from 3. Notice how I did not say the word rebound because in 30 minutes tonight, the Blazers starting power forward, Jeremy Grant, got a whopping 0 rebounds. 0 boards for Jeremy Grant. On top of that, he is no longer a threat inside the arc at all. At all. 1 for 6 from 3. 1 for 6 inside the arc. He is shooting below 40% inside the arc. Eric, what happened? What happened? Because I don't know what the answer to this is. Why is he so much worse inside the arc than he was last year, right? Because I feel like with Grant, people talk, it's just situational and blah, blah, blah. It's like he was in the same situation last year. Maybe he's checked out a little bit, but dude, 40% inside the arc? That's awful. He was 47% last year, 52% the year before. He is no longer a threat. The thing is he doesn't even shoot a ton of mid-ranges like he used to. So he's just brutal. On the season, he's 16 points per game, under 4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 39% from the field, 38% from 3. I mean, I don't know how you can justify trading anything of value for a dude making $30 million a year putting up those numbers right now. I think it's going to be a serious problem at the deadline. And, there's other people out there that say, no, he's still worth 2 firsts. They could still get back 2 firsts for him. I don't know about that. But, Eric, what happened? Why is he so bad inside the arc?
Well, do you want part of an honest answer?
I always want you to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think he did much in the offseason, basketball wise. Uh, yeah, I think he barely touched basketball for a couple months, and yeah, not that that's
Why? Why
not
is that?
beneficial
Because he's paid and on a
sometimes.
bad team?
It's not the worst thing to take a break and recharge, but
It's not like he was in the finals, dude. The
yeah,
season
I know,
ended in
I know.
April.
I heard towards the end of the off season was the first time he had picked up a basketball in a while. I think he was in those some of those Rico Hines runs towards the end of the off season, and yeah, I don't know how true that is, but I heard that he was like completely out of shape at that time and wasn't going to the practice facility at all this summer because of some other reasons. And then, yeah, so maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't know. It's not like he's playing any different, or you know what I mean. He still plays the exact same way. So
Yeah, he
I
just
don't know.
doesn't make anything. He doesn't make layups. He doesn't make mid range like he did last year, especially the year before. So there's a lesson in this. The lesson is this is why you don't keep around aging veterans on big contracts on a terrible rebuilding team longer than you need to. And everybody loves to say they don't have to be in any rush. They can be patient. They can be patient. I mean, if that's true, it's obvious that like, okay, he's just not motivated. He's a Portland Trailblazer. They suck. He's paid a ton of money for a few years now. He doesn't have to worry about contract or anything. Okay? I believe the stuff that you say, and I would lean towards believing that in assuming that, okay, he just did not have the motivation this past offseason, and that's why you don't just sit here like, we don't have to rush trading him, because what did I always say to people that would say that, Eric? I'd say their play could get worse and their value could go down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah, and it's just the crowd of people that say they don't have to rush trading their vets. They don't have to rush trading their vets. They always act like these veterans' value is just going to magically stay the same. Oh, they're veterans, you know. The league knows how good they are, blah, 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 blah. They can get worse. Guys can fall off. Guys can have off seasons where they don't put in the right type of work or don't put in enough work or this or that. And it's really tough to remain as good as Jeremy Grant has been the past couple of seasons. You have to put in work to maintain that. So I feel like the Blazers already waited too long on Jeremy Grant. And I feel like it's going to cost them in the end. They have to trade Jeremy Grant, but they should have been more serious about fielding offers the last year's trade deadline. And they should have moved him this past offseason. Because they're going to get back less value now, most likely. And it was funny because I had a comment on the last stream that was like laughing like, you guys say they have to trade Grant, but then you'll criticize him for what Grant gets traded for, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the point is, you have to trade Grant. Those reasons have existed for a while now. And if you waited too long and didn't get back peak value being last year's trade deadline or this past offseason, and you waited till now, and now it's even more obvious you have to trade him. It's always been obvious he's not a part of your future plans. And if you get back less value now, that shows the exact stuff that we always criticize Cronin for, which is a lack of foresight and mismanaging the value of an asset. That would just be another feather in his cap in that regard. So yeah, that would absolutely get criticized if he has to trade Grant for a couple of seconds. Now, listen, a team out there is probably going to give up a first, okay? I'm still holding out hope. But, Eric, I don't say that confidently. I do not say that confidently because he has been flat out bad this year. He has been bad. He's super inefficient inside the arc. He's a bad rebounder. He's not a playmaker for others outside of like one play a game, one flash a game. And defensively, he's only good in like a very specific like secondary help role. He's not good defending guards. He's not that type of defender. Where's his value for that money? And More games like this just make me more and more worried for what the fallout is going to be, because if Cronin can't get a first for him, is he going to trade him? I could see Jeremy Grant being a Blazer this offseason. And I just don't know how long you go. In next year, he's going to be 31 years old. He actually turns 31 this season. So it's like, okay, at some point he's going to start declining. Maybe this is the start of that decline. Because once you're past the age of 30, you're always due for some sort of decline in your skills. And that's why they should have been in a rush to trade him. They should have traded him by now. And because they didn't, I have a feeling it's going to bite them in the butt. They're going to end up with less value for him. And that's just kind of the MO with Joe Cronin, is he doesn't know when or how to sell his pieces.
Well, despite everything you said being true, I do still hear that teams think Jeremy's just stuck in a bad situation. There's not much he can do about it, which is good for us. Hopefully that's true, and that all it takes is one team, like we always say.
Yeah.
But everything I've heard is that there are several teams that still think that Jeremy would be useful on a good team, and that he's just wasting away. And obviously some of the things can be explained away by him just not caring because they're not winning, you know? So if he was on a winning team where he needed to be a little more locked in. So the more teams that believe that, hopefully the better. I do think there are still opportunities to get some value for him, so I don't think it's awful. But
you're not going to get more value for him than
right. Yeah, right. But here's the thing. So Tori and I, since the beginning of this channel in the offseason of 2019, we started with the 2019 draft. We have always been two people who focus on not only like, oh, does this move make us better? But like, what does this do for your plan 2 years out or whatever? Like, we always think about how this affects other moves down the line, how it affects your salary cap moving forward, how it affects value of players moving forward. And so this is something that we pointed out on this channel at the time. And that comment that you just read off or referred to will criticize us for using hindsight, even though it's not hindsight or whatever. But both of us thought we should have traded Jeremy Grant at the trade deadline last year, right? And a lot of people thought that was stupid. Why would we trade Jeremy? He's such a nice guy, such a good player. And then turns out the Blazers' plan then that summer was to trade him after not entertaining any sort of realistic trade offers for him at the deadline the previous season. So this is the problem. They don't trade him when they could maximize his value, and then they try to get a pass for, oh, well, there are no good offers. Yeah, because you created this situation where there aren't going to be as many good offers when you could have sold. But the main point is, what is your plan? If you decided to keep him at the trade deadline, then why 2 months later or whatever, when your season was over, did it become apparent that you guys were open to trading him for 2 first-round picks or whatever? Why didn't you say that at the trade deadline and maybe get 2 first-round picks that could have helped the team win when he was shooting 40% from 3, and teams could have justified that and maybe you could have gotten some value, and you would have cleared up some cap space to then go into this new CBA with all these new rules this summer where teams absolutely sold off players like Harrison Barnes, and the Spurs get a 2031 first-round pick swap or whatever it was for that. You know, like, why didn't you go with a plan to do stuff like that? And it's always comes back to they do crap like this where it's like, oh, well, we're just going to hold on to Jeremy because or we're going to hold on to Malcolm because he's a good mentor and stuff like that. Like, we're not doing a rebuild. And it's like when we signed Gary Payton II, like, oh, he's a really good defender. Yeah, but you hard capped yourself and you made other moves impossible that season, and you basically cut yourself off from doing a big trade. Or when it comes to Damian Lillard, you talk for months and years about how you're going to build a winning roster around him. We're dedicated and committed to Dame. And then, the very next offseason, you're drafting Scoot and basically forcing him out of town because it's like you could have maximized his value if you traded him sooner instead of letting it get to a point where he requested a trade. And so this just goes back to me to hopefully this is all quelled because we get a good package back for some of these players, but I don't know how anyone can think we will at this point. It would just be we'd have to find like the perfect situation. So hopefully that can happen and Cronin can be saved here by making a couple of moves that he gets lucky with. But
do you trust him?
No, but he's absolutely put himself into this point where it's obvious, I think, to most fans who watch this team, there's certain players that just do not fit well when you're trying to build a team from the ground up, and it's hurting anyone from being developed. It's limiting players' opportunities to have the ball or to run the show or to even play decent rotational minutes, and so. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a situation where I think he has to, but are we really just going to wait another month and a half till the trade deadline to do anything? Why don't you follow it now?
These are the types of games we're gonna have for a while. Okay, where Jeremy Grant stinks it up and Ayton's is going to play, Ayton only played 29 minutes tonight because it was a blowout loss, but Ayton's going to play like 33, 34 minutes and Klingen's going to play 10, and we're going to be like, man, I can't believe Klingen's only playing 10. Then he's still going to be coming off the bench playing 21 to 23 minutes a game, playing better than any other Blazer forward on the entire roster, and that is literally what it's going to be until probably February. And it is the worst part about this season and the worst part about this rebuild. And, people think in a vacuum, the team's bad, that's why fans are going to completely check out or be mad or this or that. But it's like, no, I think most fans understand the process of rebuilding from the ground up, getting young talent, playing that young talent, developing that young talent, okay? You have to be a complete and utter casual to not understand that process, right? It's very self-explanatory.
Who's not tuning in because if we trade DeAndre Ayton right now, you know what
exactly.
I mean?
And that's the point. Nobody is watching Blazer games to watch DeAndre Ayton or watch Jeremy Grant go 2 for 12 and not get a rebound in 30 minutes. Those guys are more frustrating to watch than anything because if it's young players doing that, all right, they're trying to figure it out. They're young. Ayton with some of his effort issues and he's just limited and defensively doesn't have an impact. If that's a young player, you have hope okay, maybe he can figure out, learn some things and develop his game. With Ayton, it's this what he is, and he's paid a max. So it's the most frustrating part of the rebuild for me. I would love to watch Denny start with Tumani and Klingen in the front court. I would be more invested in every game. I would be more excited for every Blazer game if that was the starting front court. But we go into these games and it's just man, okay, is Jeremy going to do anything tonight? The answer tonight was nope. Right? Is Ayton going to have a good or a bad spirit about him tonight? Ayton was fine tonight. Yay. Our max center was fine tonight in terms of his hustle. He didn't have bad hustle in this game, so we should applaud that. The 7-footer dunked a couple times, and I got people on Twitter telling me I need to be nicer to Ayton because look at that alley-oop dunk, and he ran back on defense a couple times. He's being paid a max contract. The hell do you mean that's the bar? That's the bar for a max contract player? No way. And that's the frustration for me trying to watch this team game in, game out, is those guys playing 35 minutes a night. And it's just, I am so excited. And I tweeted this. I'm so excited for Denny Avdia to start over Jeremy Grant because Denny Avdia is younger, better, and much cheaper. and obviously a part of the future, and Jeremy Grant obviously isn't. It's just like the two timelines crap has been extremely frustrating. If this team was worse but was like clearly dedicated to a timeline and they were worse because they're playing, Klingon 30 minutes a game, okay, sure, fine. The thing is giving Aiton's minutes to Klingon, I don't even think that makes them worse at all. So they got to commit to something, commit to some sort of plan. The biggest knock against this front office, whether you like this front office or not, you can't sit here and say, oh, they've been able to enact a legitimate plan. Okay? With Dame, they talked about building around him and they want to be super aggressive for him. Never did it. Drafted Scoot Henderson, right? There was talks going into that offseason, like, okay, we can't go with more youth. They need more size. And Cronin comes out here after drafting Scoot Henderson saying, he's not your normal 19-year-old, we just need talent, blah, blah, whatever bull crap he pitched, right? So the build around Dame plan wasn't really much of a plan. They didn't execute that at all. I mean, nobody can disagree with that, okay? Now it's rebuild, okay? What's the plan? Rebuild. Okay, what are the intricacies of that plan? You value young players. You give them ample playing time and opportunity so that they can develop and learn from the mistakes that they'll inevitably make. And we can't even do that part right. Okay? What's the plan with Jeremy Grant? You re-signed him to trade him down the line. He's still here. The plan with Brogdon was you're going to flip him. He was basically salary filler in an Avdia trade. There's just a lot in terms of, this team is in build around Dame mode or rebuild mode, but they aren't putting all their eggs in that basket. And I just want them to fully commit to something. The only thing they've fully committed to is being bad, and the only other thing they fully committed to is Chauncey Billups. Those two things go hand in hand. So the day Grant gets traded, the day Ayton gets traded, I will be celebrating because it'll be like, yay, we're finally kind of on a clear path here towards, we drafted Klingon to be our future starter. We're going to start him, develop him, even if he's not ready to be like a great starting big man yet. Okay, and you traded 2 firsts for Denny Avdia. Now you can start the guy you just traded 2 firsts for and is your best forward. You can finally start your best forward, who you gave up a lot for. Like, that's just where we're at, unfortunately, and it's frustrating. And that's why I did this chat poll, too. Like, what are you guys most frustrated about? And people are more frustrated about Chauncey's offense, the design of that. I get that. We've been ranting about all season long. And young players not breaking out. But I feel like part of the reason young players aren't breaking out is because you're going to force feed Ayton some shots. You're going to force feed Grant some shots. And you're going to run the offense through those guys and try and showcase them for whatever reason, even though their play is not actually doing any positive showcasing for themselves. So it's what we're going to deal with for the next month. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they trade Grant tomorrow just to spite us. But I would love that.
Spiting us, we celebrate, right?
Yeah, but would you rather celebrate or be right? I'm just kidding. I mean, I just trade him as soon as possible. But I just don't expect it to happen anytime soon, man. I expect it to be this awkward juggling act until February, and I hope that I'm wrong.
Hope that it's not longer than February.
Brutal.
Yeah. For me, it's like because this team has been wildly inconsistent this year, between beating Denver last game and now looking like this tonight, getting blown out in San Antonio. And we've seen all the ups and downs this year. At times, people thinking we're going to be a playing team when we're 8-12 and then losing a bunch of games in a row, and then everyone realizing we're bad again. And it's frustrating to me that it's because we're still having issues that we're talking about tonight. It's not, if this was just like, okay, we're giving Scoot 35 minutes trying to see if he can break out of his funk or whatever, or become a better player. And it's just, he's wildly inconsistent, like I said, and he's not showing much, then you can say, well, at least we know now that that's probably not going to happen. Like, you can still have hope if you want, but like we kind of were like, okay, well, we tried to give him every opportunity, but like, I mean, he's coming in off the bench and not doing much. Like, how are we supposed to know like what would happen in that situation? And then with Sharp,
he had some of his, let me just have this. He had some of his best moments last year when he was starting at the end of the season. Now that was the end of the season and they were tanking, right? But he had some of his best moments when he started, man. So I just want to see him consistently start, consistently get minutes, and have the opportunity to just figure it out and try and find a rhythm that he struggles to find coming off the bench.
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily correlated with bench versus starting last year. I think it was just the veterans we're talking about right now weren't playing, so he was the unquestioned guy when he was in there. So, because he had some good games before he got reinserted back in the starting lineup too, like he was trending in that right direction. But it's just so now we're hanging on Shaden Sharp basically as our lone savior right now, and so when he has a good game, great. It didn't matter tonight, but like hopefully he can become consistent and save this thought, because outside of that, I mean, I've talked about this before. I can almost predict / guarantee that Klingon is at least a rotational center in this league, like at least a decent backup center. So we have one of our 8 rotation guys, I think, with him. I think Denny is a rotation guy, obviously, and still has several years on his contract, is still young enough to grow with the core. So you're confident with that. But you need the guys still. And Sharp, I think, right now is our only chance of having that. So that could turn around this season, in my opinion, if he starts playing like that more consistently and showing that he could still be that guy. But short of that, like, where are we supposed to turn to have any hope for this season other than hopefully we get a high pick and can get Dylan Harper or Cooper Flagg, right? Like, that's basically all we're hoping for at this point, and that's not how this season should have gone.
And I think that's kind of evidence of an issue right now, or at least just like the way I feel is that the rebuild just is barely started. The rebuild is barely started. And we have drafted in the top 7 3 straight years, but it's like we still got vets on this team. Sharp is the only like star level hope that we have right now. It feels like we still have many more years left of rebuilding, man. And I wish I did not feel that way. Luckily, the Blazers have some assets coming down the line with the Bucks. You know, the best 2029 first of their own, Milwaukee and Boston, right? So that'll be a good draft pick. Maybe they'll be better by then. Maybe Milwaukee will suck. The Blazers have swap rights in 2028. But here's the thing. If the Blazers still suck in 2028 and 2029, they don't really get value out of that, right? Because if they suck in 2029 and Milwaukee sucks, then the Blazers gave up a really high pick for Denny Avdia, and basically they just get their own pick in 2028, 2029, 2030. The only additional first that they've added, that they have right now, is a 2029 first that is the worst out of Boston, Milwaukee, and Portland. Now, in case you're confused as to how that happened or need a refresher, Portland this offseason, going into the offseason after the Dame trade, had their own 2029 first, Boston's 2029 first, and Milwaukee's 2029 first. They gave up the second best of that to Washington in the Avdia trade. Okay? So basically, you can view it as Portland in 2029 gets the best out of Portland, Milwaukee, Boston, right? In 2028 and 2030, Portland has swap rights with Milwaukee, so they get the best between Portland and Milwaukee. So if Milwaukee's better than Portland in 2028, 2029, 2030, maybe they both suck, but Portland's even worse. I don't know. Hopefully not. But if Milwaukee's better than Portland, the Blazers don't really get anything out of that. And all of a sudden, you start to look at the Dame trade. Like, what did they get for their greatest player ever? That is the worry. That is the downside. The upside of this, and there is upside, is, okay, Portland rebuilds properly. 2028, they're a playoff team, and Milwaukee is falling off a cliff, and their pick is like top 5. And Portland, while being a playoff team, also gets a top 5 pick. Same thing in 2029. Same thing in 2030. And the Blazers can just stockpile top picks while being a playoff team, and that can help them get to contention. But the longer this rebuild takes, the more likely it is that those swaps don't mean anything for the Blazers, don't even matter at all. And that's kind of the downside of the Dame trade, where everybody thought the Dame trade was great because you got DeAndre Ayton. Okay, yippee, great. Oh, you got some picks? You got 2 swaps. You got a Golden State pick from Drew, and you got a Boston 2029 first, and you got Milwaukee 2029 first, and you basically traded one of the 2 for Denny, and you trade the Golden State pick for Denny. So it's like you got Denny, you got Tamani. Okay, great, for Dame, essentially. And you got this upside with these picks that I just explained, but you also got the downside that the only pick you're going to add through the Dame trade to Denny and Tamani is the worst out of Boston, Milwaukee, and Portland in 2029. That's not a great return. Okay, now you still have Robert Williams that you can flip, and you can see what value you get for him, but that's the only extra value that you get on top of that. Because DeAndre Ayton is not going to fetch you value. So there's... I don't have confidence in Joe Cronin properly managing the value of an asset. I just don't have that confidence because he hasn't proven it to me. He hasn't shown me that he can. A lot of people think the Dame trade is evidence of that. I don't, for the reasons that I just explained. And it's kind of complicated, but hopefully I explained it well enough.
Yep. Kyle says, every time Troy says Dame, we have to take a shot of Fireball.
How about you just take a shot of Fireball every time I say Dame, okay? Dame, 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 Dame. Have fun. Anyway, shout out to Nathan Rolfe for a $2 Australian donation. Says, WYR, would you rather not trade any vets or have to keep Chauncey?
Oh, why?
It's a tough one, man. It's a brutal would you rather. Chat, who would you rather not trade any vets or have to keep Chauncey? You answer that, chat. Thank you for the donation, Nathan.
At least if we traded the vets, then it would become maybe Chauncey asked out because.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I'd rather keep Chauncey than not trade any of the vets. Yeah, I just can't do this too much.
How many dominating accounts do you think we'll get tonight? Do you think we can make it to 10?
I don't know.
Let's see. Hopefully we can make it to 10. Okay, I believe whoever's behind that account. Maybe it was the dude on Twitter that said I have massive insecurity issues on Twitter. That's what I got told tonight. Which I thought was funny because people hate on me in terms of like, he's so arrogant. So apparently I'm arrogant and insecure, Eric. Do those contradict each other? Or is the arrogance to mask the insecurity?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Definitely.
I am arrogant about my insecurity, Chad. Anyway. I'll feel more secure when they trade Grant and trade Ayton. I would rather, I would rather not trade any vets because a new coach could come in here and be like, you know what, let's start Denny ahead of Grant and let's make Ayton the new Duop Wreath. So that's the only way I can salvage anything positive there. If those are my two options. And shout out to Antonio for becoming a starter level member.
Can we talk about this poll?
Yeah.
That's 147 votes.
Yeah, so what's the most frustrating part of the Portland Trailblazers? The final tally on the poll. Thank you if you voted in the chat poll. I always like polling you guys on just how you guys feel about things and just see how much it aligns with what I feel.
So close.
Yeah, so 35% said the most frustrating thing is Chauncey's offense. 34% said the most frustrating thing is young players not breaking out. 22% said the minutes breakdown, and 7% said Chauncey's defense. Eric, your thoughts on that poll?
Kind of surprised that defense hardly got any votes, but when I was reading the poll in chat, I thought that was a very good poll. It's a very good job.
Thanks.
I was trying to think because obviously all those things are frustrating, and we spent a lot of time last game going off on the minutes thing, but I think a lot of those all tie into what I think is the most frustrating for me, and that's that to this date, none of our young players have broke out or shown much other than what we already hoped that they would show at this point. So I think to me, that's the most frustrating part is we're now having had to sit through and watch a large portion of the last 3 seasons, at least, of just the bottom completely falling out, especially post All-Star break or post trade deadline. And there's nothing we have that's like, oh, well, this is the benefit of that. This is for sure going to lead to us, getting out of this rut. So to me, I think the most frustrating part of this season is that young players aren't breaking out. Now, whether it's because they're busts or whatever you want to call it, I think that's still yet to be determined. But I do think Chauncey's offense, Chauncey's defense, and the minute breakdown where it leans heavily on players like Grant and DeAndre Ayton over some of those guys does contribute to them not breaking out. So in my opinion, the most frustrating part is that the Blazers don't have any clarity when it comes to, oh, wow, I can really see the vision after 3 years of tanking.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call that the most frustrating part. I think I would call that the most depressing part.
Right.
For me, the frustration is like, why are you doing this? Why is things this way? You could fix this. Why don't you fix it? Like, those scenarios like those are what's frustrating for me. That is just like a bummer, man. That's just a bummer because everybody thought it was going to be Scoot. Scoot's going to be our future superstar, right? I've been patient on Scoot, but I am getting around to the point where I don't think he'll be an all-star. I just don't. I still think it's too early to know for sure, but
his feel just seems so bad. I don't know,
But I also think he has some the feel thing. I know people don't think feel is coachable, but sometimes I just wonder in a better organization, in a different organization with a better coach, if he would look a lot better and be developed better. I don't have faith in Chauncey developing players. Who has Chauncey ever developed? Who has Chauncey ever developed? Chat.
Tamani, I guess. Tamani playing this game? I think he was a DMP.
He was over the yeah, no, he's brutal. Well, Tamani's a 3-and-D guy. Chauncey didn't coach that into him. He shot 33%, but his defense is phenomenal. But it's just because of his defensive tools, instinct, effort, all that stuff. None of that is Chauncey developing that. Who has Chauncey taken? And maybe he hasn't had enough opportunity or enough time to develop. But it's who has Chauncey taken where when Chauncey got him, they weren't that good, and then look at the way they took off without him or with him. Look at how Chauncey really helped them improve. I don't feel like Sharp has made sizable gains. I know he had a great game tonight, but he had great games last year. Right? And he was a rookie under Chauncey, so he took a step into year 2, I guess. He's showing flashes, but it's Sharp, he shows flashes that are resemblant of his natural talent. Mm-hmm. It's not look at the way this part of his game is being refined and developed. And last year, maybe you'd say, oh, look at the way he improved his playmaking, his passing for others. But this year, he's playing in over 30 minutes a game, averaging 2.5 assists. His assists are down from last year. So his rebounds are down from last year. So it's like, okay, it's still not good. And he'll have games where it's just like he'll have the ball in his hands a decent amount. Like tonight, he had, took 16 shots, didn't have an assist. Of course, guys got to make shots, but I don't remember there being a play where like, oh, look at that really good read, really good pass from Sharp. He's kind of just a scorer. And a scorer that's reliant upon his natural talent, athletic gifts. It's not like, I don't know, I just feel like Chauncey has not done a good job of developing what we have. And it's like Scoot's a point guard who got taken 3rd overall, struggling to start his career. That should be the type of guy that Chauncey can really, really develop. And the lack of improvement from Scoot, man, the thing is he looked better to start the year, and then he's regressed? Why? Why did he look so much better to start the year? And Scoot doesn't even seem confident attacking the rim at all anymore. Like, he has no confidence attacking the rim. And the thing is his finishing seemed a little bit better at the start of the year.
I mean, super small sample size. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, he should improve in his second year.
Mm-hmm.
He should be showing sizable improvement. And I don't think Scoot just sat on his ass all offseason.
No. Could be he's just not that good. I don't know.
Even if he's not that good, you should still see more improvement, I feel like. I feel like if Chauncey was a good developing coach, you would see more out of Scoot right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have no way of proving that take is right or anything, but that's just the way I feel.
Well, much like we've had this discussion with not running plays for Sharp and stuff to get him going. Like, I don't know. It's like the schemes and stuff are just, I don't see anything to like make Scoot's job running the offense or make his, or get him into positions to succeed. It's all just go create something. And I don't think that's good for Scoot right now.
Yeah. Nope, I don't either. I'm bummed out about Scoot, man. So 4 for 10 tonight, but like the shot isn't as good, and I do want to see if he was like given the keys as a starter for half a season, if he would find another level or find more confidence. Maybe his feel would look better if he had more of an opportunity to feel things out, so to say, at the NBA level. Like, he's played in 82 games now for his career, so that's like a full rookie season if he didn't miss any time. But like getting more minutes and getting more on-ball reps and running things through him a little bit more is just more repetition. And the optimistic side of me is just hopeful that when given the keys, when given more reps, more experience, when given more responsibility, that might help him grow, because it just seems like what they're doing right now isn't helping him grow at all. And it's just so strange, because at the start of the year, I know you said small sample size, but like he was getting to the line a ton. His free throw attempts per game on the season are down from 3.3 last year to 2.8. His minutes are down from 28.5 to 26, which is kind of crazy that his minutes are going down. But, like, he was getting to the free throw line a lot in the first 5-6 games. And now he's not getting to the line at all. So, I don't know. Hopefully we see him under a different coach, because that's the toughest part. If he was who he was supposed to be, I would feel so much better about this rebuild. But...
Do you think a little bit, teams kind of went into the season letting him do what he wanted, and now they got some film on what he was improving on, they took that away from him, and he doesn't have a counter yet?
I mean, I feel like I haven't necessarily seen that, so I'm not going to believe it. It's possible, but I don't know. There's a couple opportunities tonight where it's like, oh, he could attack the rim, and he just kind of like weaves across the paint and looks to kick out, where he's just like passive. But like last game, he shot a ton of shots. Like there's moments where he's like too aggressive, and there's moments where he's too passive, and I think that kind of speaks to maybe the feel issue that you brought up. I don't know, man. I don't have confidence in Scoot being the star anymore. Sharp, I have more confidence in, but he's been inconsistent. Trevin, I'll still buy some more Scoot stock since it's so cheap right now that even if he becomes like an average sixth man, I'll be rich off his stock because his stock has tumbled so much. But I'm kind of at the point where this rebuild is an absolute failure if they don't get Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, AJ DeBonsa, or Cameron Boozer in the next 2 years, in the next two drafts. Mm. The thing is, you got to be lucky to get one of those guys. Right? If you're the worst team in the league, you got like a 25-ish% chance at the top 2 pick, and you need a top 2 pick for both those guys in each draft. But it's like, okay, this is where, the Blazers should have one of the 3 best odds the next 2 years if we were doing this rebuild right and didn't have these veterans on the team. And then you got close to a 50% chance of getting one of them. And if you don't get any of them, then okay, we're freaking cursed, man. We're freaking cursed. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Now, you have decent third overall picks in like Ace Bailey and Darren Peterson the next couple of years, but the reason why I don't lump them in as like guys that I'd be really excited to go get is somebody like Ace Bailey, Eric. I feel like if the Blazers got Ace Bailey, he would go down the Scoot Henderson path. I don't know why. In terms of like, oh, he can't get to the rim. He's very jumper reliant, shoots a lot of mid-range shots, like doesn't end up being like a 40+% three-point shooter, and it's just like, okay, what does he really do? That is definitely very pessimistic for Ace Bailey. He has a ton of upside, but it's kind of just like I almost feel like the Blazers need a prospect that they can't screw up.
There's dominating number 4.
Took a while. Do you have that same feeling where like they just need a prospect that they can't screw up that is going to be a star no matter what?
Well, the hope is that, Chauncey isn't here past next year, so a new coach I maybe have a little bit more faith in. I mean, it could just be just as bad, but yeah. But, well, maybe if they keep screwing it up, then Cronin finally gets on the hot seat too, but I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. Tough stuff. Anyway, let's do Tankathon since we're kind of there right now. What are you going to say?
I fell in love with the prospect today. I have a new draft crush, but I'm
acquaintance.
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched the Arizona State game because I was watching just on Simon, and yeah.
I mean, a lot of people love Quaintance in next year's draft.
They didn't talk about him at all, and I've never seen him on draft board, so I was like, what the heck? I didn't know he was 17.
Oh, you didn't know he's 17?
No.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to Kentucky, and then he Calipari left.
I did know that.
Yeah, because he played a hoop summit and stuff, but it was like, he has to be a 2-year college player because he's too young to enter the draft after his freshman season. Mm. So that's why he might not be getting a ton of buzz right now, is because he can't enter this upcoming draft.
Yeah, I was like, how is he not on draft boards? Why are people not seeing this? And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
He's the youngest player in college basketball, but defensive instinct's really good. It's like one of those guys where if he adds a 3, he's just going to be set because he's a good player. So he'll be a top 10 pick next year. I'm pretty confident about that. So yeah, he's good. You like your Arizona State guys this year, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like Sandin, yeah. He didn't have the best game today, but
Yeah.
at least the parts I watched. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I wonder where his 3-point percentage is going to be on the year.
Hmm.
Um, let's do Tankathon. And then we'll talk about some draft stuff we got coming up. And then after this section, if you want to call in and you're a channel member, let us know and we will field your call. If you're not a channel member, sorry, this is members night. Can I hold on? It's not showing up for me. Sorry, just give me a second to load this up because the stream's being weird, but
Super. We did answer that question last stream for you. If we happen to get Flag, I'll answer it again. You have a nice forward rotation with Flag, Denny, and Tamani. You probably bring Tamani off the bench. I think you're fine.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
Tamani, people love Tamani. I love Tamani defensively, does some really good things, but if he's off the it's okay if he's off the bench.
especially if you have a star.
Yeah, like if you got a star and somebody like as good as Denny, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good problem to have. So,
Now, if Jeremy's still on the team and you get Flag and they don't trade Jeremy and you're still playing Jeremy 35 minutes, then that's an issue.
yeah, imagine bringing Flag off the bench for Jeremy.
Um, yeah, so in case you guys haven't noticed, when they've played Klingon and Robert Williams together, it's almost been exclusively with Denny in the game too. So Denny's basically playing the three. Dominating number 5. Let's go.
It's clunky, man. It's so clunky.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't looked good, but I'm saying, like, I don't think they're afraid to play him at the 5.
Yeah, it's just a clunky fit. Sorry, my stream's being weird. My Streamlabs, unfortunately. I might have to find a workaround because we're doing Tankathon today. After a loss like this, we are absolutely doing Tankathon. Oh, okay, there we go.
Figured it out.
Oh, it just finally showed up. So basically, I can stream windows, and sometimes, occasionally, the window doesn't show up. So there we go. We got the window. We got the progressive advertisements. Now we got the Jared Jewelers advertisements for any of you out there that need to propose. All right, Portland, 6th place in the lottery race. They're a game and a half behind Utah. They are 2 games behind third best odds. Eric, I am eyeing this third best odds thing. Because if it's a tie, the odds are reduced. But if you're in third place on your own, you got 52% chance top 4 and 14% chance of the number 1 overall pick. So, yeah, I am sold on the idea of a Harper Sharp backcourt if they don't get Flag. Harper, I think there's no chance that Harper doesn't go top 2 though. Some of you that love Ace,
that's hard to argue about that. Yeah.
Some of you that love Ace Bailey, they'll probably be there at 3. Anyway, let's simulate the lottery. Scroll from the bottom. If you pull up Tankathon, you can let me know who moves up.
Yes, sir.
14, San Antonio. 13. Well, I already need you because Houston via Phoenix moved down a spot.
Minnesota's pick going to Utah moves up. So
That's
Utah
a first.
likely could have the top 2 picks.
Yeah, wow, that's a first in our
This-
Tankathon sims.
Which means we're probably going to be like 7th or 8th.
Yep, most likely. At 12 is San Antonio via Chicago. At 11 is Detroit moving down 2 spots.
That means Sacramento has also
What
moved.
the hell is this, man? This is the wildest one of the year. It's going to be hard to top this one, too. At 10 is Brooklyn moving down 2 spots.
That Minnesota-Utah one's unprotected, right? From the Gobert.
Yeah, I think so. Imagine getting Cooper Flag for trading Gobert while we're just sitting here like,
God.
what do we get for Dame? when we suck for the rest of the decade. Anyway,
They're saying they can't see.
what do you mean you can't see? What?
It's frozen on.
Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? My Streamlabs has been weird. It didn't play the audio from the last clip either. You're gonna see my streaming software for a second. Okay. Let's.
At least you said something different this time.
What do you mean?
Oh, dominating 6.
Oh.
Instead of just saying dominating, he said, "You know who else you can't see? Dominating."
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
wonder if that was someone else.
yeah, I don't know. Can you see the Brooklyn on screen? Because I'm streaming
Yes.
my screen. Okay, you can
Yeah, I
see it
see
now. Okay,
Yes.
chat. This is the Tankathon sim that we have right now. All right. This is the Tankathon sim that we have. It's already drunk. All right. The next team you can actually barely see the logo at 9 is Philadelphia to OKC, moving down 2 spots. So Portland should be at 8. Okay. Will Portland move up? The answer is yes.
What?
The answer is yes.
Utah via Minnesota, Sacramento, and us are in the top.
Hell yeah, man. We keep getting top 4, but it's always 3 or 4. But also we got 2 teams with much worse odds than us. So could you imagine the stress and then the jubilation on lottery day with the
Oh yeah,
sim
we'd be
like
so
this?
pissed, or down because it would seem like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy stuff. At 7 is Charlotte. At 6 is Toronto. And at 5 is New Orleans. Can Portland get top 4?
So what? We got Washington.
Yeah, with those other 2 teams. Can Portland finally get top 2?
We only have one team that has better odds than us.
Yeah. At 4 is your Portland Trailblazers.
Dang.
We're destined to get 3 or 4. And 4 is kind of where the draft starts right now, Eric. Kasparas Yakuchonis, you're a Portland Trailblazer. At 3 is Sacramento. At 2 is Washington, which means the number 1 pick goes to the Utah Jazz via the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Wow. One and 8.
The Timberwolves make the Western Conference Finals with Gobert, and then the next season, with a winning record, give up the number 1 overall pick to Utah as part of the Gobert trade, and the Jazz get Cooper Flag. Cinema. What a drunk simulation that was.
No. Age couldn't resist taking Cooper, I was going to say.
Oh, they're taking Cooper for sure. And then Washington's taking Dylan Harper and running to the bank. And then Sacramento's taking Ace Bailey. Yeah. And then Portland at 4. You're taking who, Eric? Because you had Jeremiah Fears as 4th on your board. I had him 8th, but I just imagine. Yeah, we're gonna tank all your. We're gonna move up into the top 4. We're gonna take Jeremiah Fears.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who'd you have at 5 again? Trey Johnson, or was it? No, it was. Who was it at 5 for you?
Oh, Jaspers? Oh.
Yakuchonis. Okay, right now, if I had to pick, let's say Harper, Bailey, and Flag are top 3, and Portland's drafting at 4. Right now, if I had to pick a player for Portland, I would probably pick Yakuchonis.
It's hard to argue with that.
Yeah, just would have sounded insanely crazy a month and a half ago. but we're going to go with the, instead of the super athletic 6'3" low feel guard, we're going to go with the 6'6" less athletic high feel guard.
Yeah.
We're going to go the complete opposite direction.
I feel that's better, though.
Yeah, Kasparas and Sharp would be interesting. It's just neither of them are defensive guys in my mind, so... But that's why you got Klingon, Avdia, Kamara. I don't know. That's why I really like Harper. Because Harper can play some defense, too. And he's big point guard. And I think, he might be a little bit of a combo guy, but that's why having somebody like Avdia, who's, point forward-ish.
Have, 3 ball handler combo guys?
Yeah, exactly. It really helps. You can run pick and roll with Klingon. I love Flag. I love Harper. I would love to make it into the top 4 and not pick 3rd or 4th, but it's fun that we keep moving up into the top 4, especially after the start of that lottery. But anyway, that is Tankathon.
Is there any good trade down?
Oh, here, I'll put it back on the screen.
I was just trying to think. But San Antonio has 12 and 16. That's probably
too far.
Yeah, it's too far.
OKC has 9 and 17 and 18, and don't need more prospects.
9, 17, and 18.
Yeah.
Or did you 9 and a future first or something?
9.
And then
No,
Clippers.
I would do 9, 17, 18. Just take 3 shots in a good draft.
Yeah.
But if they a little too much, okay, you give them the worst of 29 firsts between Milwaukee, Boston, Portland. And you make it lottery protected.
So we get Queen or Demon, and then
yeah. Or at that point, if you wanted to take Fears, maybe.
Yeah.
Or Edgecombe might be there.
Yeah.
And then 17, 18, you can take a Sengway, you got a couple shots there. That's what I would look to do if they were 4th. Because I'm not sold on anyone at 4.
King Sam says, would you trade Shaden Sharp and Denny Avdia for guaranteed AJ Dybonsa?
Yes.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a good question. But yeah.
Yeah.
Your odds of having a superstar go up. So that's kind of the deciding
factor. I think he's that guy.
For me. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, that is Tankathon. And then also, I want to kind of talk about some of the draft content that we're going to be doing. All right. We're going to be doing, of course, draft content all season long. We're going to have our annual draft stream on draft night where we live stream the draft. But this year, this is some of the stuff that we plan on putting together for 2025. Okay. Community big boards being one of them. Community big boards would be cool. We release our big boards, but it would also be cool to do on post-game shows. A community big board as well. And then I've done this in the past, but on probably Instagram, I'll release weekly games to watch, maybe on Twitter as well, just giving you some games to watch to scout some of these prospects in this phenomenal draft. I want to bring on more guests. Luckily, with my reach at Hog Media, I know a lot more content creators, and that's something that I want to do during the draft cycle is bring on occasional guests to talk about the NBA draft. That's something we haven't done enough of in the past. And then also for members only, prospect notes. Okay, I don't know how many prospect notes will drop, but the plan is to drop notes on certain draft prospects that will be available for members only. And if you want to become a channel member, you can click the join button so you have access to that. And this year's draft is the best draft in quite some time, and it's a monumental draft for both the Trailblazers and the channel, because our draft content is a lot of fun to make. It's kind of the biggest time of year for the channel as the Blazers tank half the season in order to get a good draft pick. So we're going to go all out for draft content in 2025. This stuff's coming around the corner. And we're further ahead than we've ever been in terms of scouting prospects for this upcoming draft class. So I'm excited to be able to bring some of this to you guys. And then also, if you're a channel member and you want to call in, just tag me in our Discord server with your YouTube name so I know you're a channel member, and we'll boot up the call-in feature in Discord if you want to call into the show. Okay, but only if you're a channel member. So just tag us in the main chat on our Discord if you want to call into the show. And then we'll do the Q&A at the very end. Anything else you wanted to talk about from this game in terms of players, though, Eric?
Nope.
Hell no. Hell no. I feel that.
Honestly, no.
I feel that.
Game sucked.
Yeah, this game was brutal. So, upcoming schedule, by the way, we can touch upon that real quick. Let me take a look here at our Discord. Our Discord has our upcoming event night schedule. Okay. Christmas giveaway on Monday. The plan is I'm going to wrap some presents. All right. And then we're going to randomly select people. And then you get to select a present for me to open for you. Okay. We'll have some different wrapping paper, that sort of stuff. So tomorrow I'm going to put that all together. There might be a couple cool things in there. All right. That you would be excited to win. So make sure you're there on Monday.
Be a lump of coal.
Yeah, Eric, I need you to. Do you have a Santa hat, Eric?
I did, but I don't know where it is.
If you can't find it, I can Venmo you money for a Santa hat. I will buy it for you. We gotta rock Santa hats. If we're doing a Christmas giveaway, we gotta rock the Santa hats. Okay, I also have a sweater. All right, so we're gonna get in the Christmas spirit. All right, on Monday, and give some things away. That'll be fun. And then call-in night on Thursday, the 26th, the day after Christmas. We'll do a call-in night, like a legitimate call-in night for anybody that wants to call in, not just channel members. And then the 28th, we don't have an event night planned. And then the 30th, it says watch party under the 28th, but I think we'll just be a normal night, or I'll find something else to do there. And then we'll have a New Year's night, the final stream of the year on Monday, December 30th. And then we go into the new year. Our next big board is on January 6th. And our first mock draft night is January 14th. Although maybe the 28th, maybe we do our first mock draft instead. Because I think we're ready to at least do a first round.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to keep tuning into the postgame shows. We try and keep it fun. We try and do new things every single night for you guys. We try and keep it fun. And, it's getting to the point of the season, Eric, where it starts to feel a little sluggish. You know? Do you have that same feeling where it's just like, man, here they go. Like, they win against Denver, but now they clearly still suck. And we're just waiting until the trade deadline. In one way, it's fun because now we get all the trade talk and prospect talk that we want. But it kind of just feels like we're waiting around for the trade deadline right now.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have the college football playoff. Not that any of the games were good today. We had NFL on multiple days of the weekend now. We actually have Wednesday games next week too.
I am getting close to our fantasy football championship. I have a 74% chance to win my semifinal. This is my 9th year trying to win the league, so that's exciting.
And Cole testing are we streaming for the trade deadline again? What? Why would you even ask that, Cole? Like at this point, you're a vet enough to know. Of course, we're going to be streaming that day.
It would be a travesty if we didn't, man. We might stream earlier because I have better hours than I used to, so I'll be ready.
Request that day off of work, and then.
Have you requested it yet?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like I have to.
Yeah.
I request it off from work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we're gonna do a lot. And
Funny bouquets.
I'm so excited for the trade deadline stream. Even if nothing happens, like the big streams being draft night, free agency, and trade deadline, I look forward to as much as anything during the year. And it'll just be fun to do that stream from here. Just because I won't be in a cave for like 6-7 hours. I actually am streaming in front of a window, so the natural light, I put a Nerf hoop in this room. It's funny because I'll work from this room and I have a Nerf hoop on my door, and that's my work break, Eric. I'll just turn around and shoot shots on that hoop. And
Nice.
it's just, I don't know, I'm looking forward to doing a trade deadline stream from here. It'll be fun. So we'll find ways to keep it entertaining. I'm always trying to think of new ways to make it fun. So are you guys streaming for the draft? Bouquets is trolling us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bouquets is trolling us.
I just need to say something to Garben and Madden Mobile if he's still in here. At the beginning of the stream, before we started in chat,
Yeah.
Madden Mobile was talking about how it's our Ducks and everyone, they represent all of us. No, they do not.
Hell no, bro.
And Garben, do not tell us that we need to root for Oregon because we're from the area or whatever. Like, come on, bro.
You know what, Eric? I am ready for the Ducks to lose. I will take a picture and post it on Twitter, me wearing this robe when the Ducks lose, okay? Don't even give us that crap. I don't even care if I pissed off like 80% of the people watching right now. I don't care. I can't stand the Ducks. And trying to tell us that it's our team. Come on, man.
Well, then he said something like, well, it's not fair because you guys talk about how you're 49ers fans. Why can't I talk about the Ducks? That's not what you were doing. I don't care. You can talk about the Ducks all you want. Be the biggest Duck honk you want to be. Like, I don't care. I'm just saying, don't say that you speak for all of us, that all of us root for the Ducks. We don't tell you can't root for the Seahawks. You have to root for the 49ers, idiot. Like, we don't tell you that. Like, what do you mean?
When we sit on here on stream and talk about the Niners, we don't say, yeah, Eric, I speak for everybody watching the stream right now and everybody in our chat when I say that I hope the Niners beat the Seahawks.
And I didn't even say I'm rooting for them to lose. I know you are, but like
You're not?
I don't even care. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me. But like, I'm not going to root for them to lose. I'm not going to root for them to win. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And for those that don't know, I went to Oregon State. So, yeah, kind of down about college football right now. Yeah.
Garben says, I've never ever met people who hate the other team, not in my family's either side, not in Eugene, not in Corvallis, when I go down, etc. I'm just saying, well, you met one person that hates the Ducks. Okay, it's me.
Yeah. And you were getting on me earlier, Garben. I never said I hated the Ducks. All I said was I wasn't going to root for them. It's completely different. I'm not.
Yeah. Gonzaga does not have a football team, okay? I'm a Washington football fan, Gonzaga basketball fan, okay? If that's weird to you, I don't care. It's the way it is. But I despise the Ducks like more than any other team. And I have reasons, okay? Haters? Absolutely. I am a hater, okay? I will wear that proudly, okay? I will wear that proudly.
Gonzaga should get a football team because they could probably win their conference there because crappy ass Pac-12 now.
Yeah. What's your reason? What's my
Charlie,
reason?
what's your reason?
I mean, which reason? Do you want me to tell you about, like, the time my grandfather almost died because Ducks fans tried to run him off the road for having a Washington State bumper sticker? Like, or do you want me to talk about the stupid saying that I can't stand, or they try to buy a national championship with Uncle Phil's money, or the we have to have a new uniform every freaking game with Uncle Phil's money, or the whole, I don't know. Like, I know a lot of them are Blazer fans, but man, the way fans act about the Ducks drives me up a wall. Kind of reminds me of some Suns fans. Like, so I don't know. I don't have good experiences with Ducks fans, all right? If you're not one of those Ducks fans that I've had a bad experience with, then you shouldn't feel some type of way. I'm just talking about certain Ducks fans. Drive me insane. Yeah. And I know some Ducks fans where it's like, well, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. Anyway. You're raised that way. I wasn't even raised to hate the Ducks. I'm a Huskies fan, man, but
Well,
I rooted for the Ducks when I was in high school when they played Auburn.
I said this in chat at the beginning. I cool, like you created super conferences and all this stuff, but I think they lost sight of a huge reason why college football is popular, especially. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't even like football, but they go to a school and then become fans of their school football team, just simply because of rivalries and going to games and having fun and stuff. So I think college football, as a Beaver fan, this is sour grapes, but they've ruined any kind of regional rivalries or traditions and things like that. And so, yeah, unfair or not, the Ducks were part of that, and so screw them, man, and screw USC, screw UCLA. The Pac-12 has been a thing for a long time, and they freaking ruined all of it. So whatever.
As a Husky fan, I did not feel good about that. I missed the Pac-12. I know a lot of Ducks fans that were so excited, celebrating, we're going to the Big 12 or the Big 10. So that also kind of annoyed me. But let's see. This
also,
comment, Eric, go ahead.
It's really easy for a Duck fan to say, "Oh, root for the Beavers." Yeah, because we're your little bitch. Okay, like no crap. You'll root for the Beavers because we're not threatening to you, other than when you let us run the ball like 33 straight times and come back from 31-10 down and beat you. But other than that, we're not a threat to you guys. Yeah. So like, what does it matter? You're way above us. So yeah, of course you can root for a lower team.
Yeah,
like, who cares?
Why didn't you gravitate to the Sonics if you lived in Washington, though? Even if it's closer, they're technically your home team. Bro, I live in the Portland, Vancouver metro area. The metro area is like Portland, Vancouver, Hillsborough, okay? I live 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away from the Moda Center. I live 2.5 hours away from Seattle. How is Seattle my home team? Portland is basically my hometown. I live in a Portland suburb. Like, if you live out in Hillsborough and you consider Portland your hometown, Vancouver is as much a hometown of Portland as Hillsborough is. It's just in a different state, but it's just as close. And it's all the same metro area. So I've never understood people that are like, why aren't you a Sonics fan because you live in Washington? It's like, I live, like, in the Portland area.
Yeah, well, and in terms of Huskies versus Ducks, you're pretty much smack dab in the middle between. You might actually be a little closer to Washington than the Ducks. So, like, even though you live in the Portland metro area,
and those are state colleges. So I'm a root for my state, one of my state colleges. I've never understood people that live in Vancouver, grew up in Vancouver, and are Ducks fans with no ties to the Ducks. It's like, you're not in Oregon. You're just as far away from Eugene as you are from Seattle. Like, okay. Don't understand how you chose that, but all right. But I mean, I know people that grew up in like Vancouver, Seattle area that just chose to become Dodger fans. So
also, there's when you don't have, because so whether he lives in Washington or not, the Blazers are your local team, right?
Yeah.
But outside of being that close, I mean, both Seattle and Eugene are far enough away from Portland. They're not local teams, even if we don't have one. So,
Yeah.
football, you don't have to root for Seattle because it's the closest team. That's not how fandom starts or whatever. And outside of it being an actual local team
Yep.
in your general vicinity.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess the college logic doesn't necessarily apply to NFL for me because I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I think it's a little different with like state colleges because it's a state college. It's literally named after a state and it's literally like regional. Like,
Well, that's what I'm talking about. What I was talking about earlier, like school pride and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but like it's not like, oh, Seattle Sonics, I have to root for them because I live in Washington.
congratulations, we made it to dominate in number 10. Proud of you. This is the type of year one stuff that we miss, right, Eric? I gotta get drunk on another stream here soon. Maybe we have a surprise shot night.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just show up to a stream drunk. I won't even tell you we're about to go live. I'll just start the stream randomly.
I wish I was drunk for this game.
Yeah.
We should have made tonight.
What day could I? Monday. What's like a this is gonna sound like
You could drink.
No, I don't work on Tuesday, but this question is probably gonna sound kind of dumb. What's like a Christmas alcohol drink?
Well, like eggnog and brandy or something.
Dude, I've never even tried eggnog, and I feel like I would hate it. It sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
Hard eggnog.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about hard alcohol, like maybe a cranberry vodka or something,
Yeah.
like or cranberry like something like that. But in terms of, I know you don't really drink like beer or stuff like that, but there's if you go to like a grocery store, you can find seasonal beers, seasonal ciders, stuff like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Listen, you guys might get drunk Santa Claus on Monday, all right? But yeah, no. If you're a channel member and have a question, ask it now. We will answer every question from channel members. Appreciate you guys for being channel members. By the way, if you're a channel member, feel free to do a little bit of emoji spam with the custom emojis. You're allowed to do that. I know we say no spamming, but with the custom emojis, you're allowed to spam those a little bit. Okay. Dro, did Scoot airball today? No, you're sober. How did you become a Zags fan? My grandfather was a Gonzaga fan, and I watched him when I was like 9 years old. It was the first basketball I ever really watched. I was watching Adam Morrison, so yeah, that's how I became a fan. Shout out to Bouquet. Bouquets for becoming a starter member. Anyway. Tristan Klein says, would Pelicans accept a player swap between Zion and Ayton? Not with extra value in probably multiple picks. So
Also, there's some stuff in Zion's contract that makes it non-guaranteed if he doesn't play 50% of the games. So it's looking like that's going to be a non-guaranteed contract. So they can get out of it. So they're not going to trade him on the logic of 2 years versus 4 years.
Is it true that you could smell Adam Morrison through the TV? That's a wild question. Johnny says, really, Tori, don't make me spam. Johnny, you're not a channel member, so you don't get the privilege of spamming as a non-channel member. I should just list that as one of the perks for channel members. You're allowed to spam chat with. Well, that could.
Unless it's Max Cam Reddish or Dominating.
Yeah. You're allowed a little bit of chat spam. You can't let them run wild, okay? Because then you'd have some characters that would become channel members just to spam, and then say we're allowed to. So people would abuse that. Max Cam Reddish. Oh my god, man. I feel like the Dominating guy is the same guy.
Probably. But that's Riley.
Yeah. That is Riley. Yeah.
I doubt Riley's been around long enough to do the Cam Reddish.
Oh, good times, man. Good times. Can't wait for this team to be good again.
Come and ask what. Oh, God.
I just, dude, I forget the streams from like when this team was good. They just felt different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just different.
Kevin H asks, what's your favorite alcoholic drink?
Whatever's in my cup. I don't really have one.
I'm a pina colada guy.
Yeah.
Hot beach or Vegas or something, sipping on a pina colada. That's. Yeah.
Tor, you're more likely to be a father of 5 than this team to be good. That is not true, brother. I am not having 5 kids.
Happy birthday, Drew.
I don't even know. Like, we ain't even close to 1, all right? So.
Oh, come on, Drew. Don't.
What?
Connor tried to get himself some Starburst, strawberry Starburst sparkling ice.
They were out of strawberry? Bro, I'm telling you guys, if I could ever choose a sponsor, it would be those drinks. Because they are so good. Starburst Ice.
Wonder if I could make that happen.
Strawberry Starburst Ice. I would do it like... I would... They could sponsor the postgame show for $10. I'd do it. But also that would lead to more people in the Portland area buying them and them being out of stock.
You get a free strawberry sparkling ice.
Dude, I would, yeah. Like, okay, I drink like 1 to 2 a day, so can I get a month's supply of like 45? Tori just got a dog. It's like a kid, but better. I already have a cat, so no dogs. Y'all need a restaurant sponsor. It'd be cool. It'd be easier if the team was good. Yeah, Starburst Ice, the strawberry version, is better than the other 3 flavors. A cat that streams for real. For real. We got 5 minutes left on the stream, and then we're out here. I got to do some Christmas shopping. Late night.
Where you go?
Don't know yet. Target, maybe.
Target's not open this late.
They're open till 11. Is what I was told.
Mm. Yeah,
It's
special Christmas hours or something?
Yeah.
No, usually they close at 10 normally.
Yeah.
Fred Meyer.
That's what I thought. But
Walmart are the ones open till 11.
That's what I thought, but I was told otherwise, so. What about Dalton Connect's downfall? Worst defender in the league? I don't think he's the worst defender in the league. Barely playing 10 minutes now. Is he really? Barely playing? I'll look up his game log. I mean, he went down to 18 to 12 to 10 minutes.
Oh, actually says they're open until midnight tonight.
Oh well, yeah. Connect's in a shooting slump too, so just give him time. I mean, he's still 10 points per game in 23 minutes on 37% shooting from three and 60% from two is pretty good for a rookie taken outside of the lotto. So where's Thibault? I thought he was barely supposed to be out, and it seems like he's going to be out all year. Oh, they're not in a rush to get him back.
Didn't he have another injury too, separate from the
Like
one
a
he had?
like a sprained ankle, but that was like weeks ago. Those can last weeks, but I mean, he seems just fine on the bench. Like watching him at the game I was at, I just think they're sitting him because whose minutes are you gonna give him?
Hopefully he knows he's not playing, and so he's not. They're just like, well, let's just say you're out then, so it doesn't.
Yeah, we forget he's even on the team. Like, yeah, that's a veteran they can also trade at the deadline.
Kind of.
Yeah, he's legit probably the worst defender right now. I don't know. I don't know. He's a rookie. Rookies tend to struggle there. He's not somebody that was known as a defender coming into the league.
Well, let's see if the Lakers will give him to us then in the
Yeah,
trade.
I'll take him in a heartbeat. So, y'all see the Heat choke today? Yeah, I saw the wild comeback. Cole Anthony went off. Cole Anthony had a better game than Ant has had all year today.
Robert Williams for Dalton Connect and filler. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I would probably do that.
Probably. You would probably do that.
Yeah, I would do that. Anyway, yeah, schedule like I said, Monday picks against the spread stream and post game Christmas giveaway. Then 2 days off. Then Thursday we'll have picks against the spread and Thursday stream against the Jazz. That's a winnable game at home. I'm just looking forward to getting closer to the deadline. As I've said, that's going to be fun. We got the Dame return game coming up in January. We got lots of games in January, man. It's gonna be a jam-packed schedule. I think it might be 17 games. Holy cow. 16 games? 16 or 17 games in January, so yeah, it's gonna be packed, and then the deadline is on Thursday, February 6th. So right now we are basically 1, 2. We're a little less than 7 weeks away from the deadline, so of course if a trade happens, we'll go live as soon as possible. Tristan, nice, man. Enjoy that. I might go. I'm not sure yet. Reddish would help the tank? Yeah, he would. Help the tank more than he was ever going to help Dame.
Paul George.
God, man. Yeah, Paul George. Where the heck is Rupert? He's stuck behind Denny Avdia and Jeremy Grant. And
He played 2 minutes tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's going to take Avdia's minutes, so whose minutes is he going to take? They meant Paul George this year? Yeah.
I don't even think he's that good.
Can we trade Chris to the Kings for something? I mean, I don't think the Kings are dying to unite Chris with his brother. I don't think they care like that. What's your theory why the NBA ratings are down? I think it's a combination of the younger generation just watches clips instead of games. I think it's tougher to find games. I think it's partly an issue with the way the NBA has marketed itself, where now it's all about like star players, and I think that's funneled the, we're just going to look at so and so's highlights after the game, or we're, social media, Twitter, like it's all about player movement and players over teams. And the thing is when you have like, when there's more attention brought to storylines with other teams throughout the year, then I think it makes for a more interesting product because you get to see the way those storylines clash. But when it's all about players, it's not really about the actual game. It's not really about the teams. So I think there's a bunch of things that contribute to it. Those are just some. I know everybody says threes. Like, yes, but back in the day, there was a lot more long twos. Is really less long twos and more threes, is that really the difference in ratings right now? Like, I don't think if these threes turned into a lot more long twos, the ratings would come back at all. So I don't really buy that.
To me, it's years now of your product being on cable channels versus the NFL, who pretty much has all their main games on broadcast television, and so it doesn't matter what streaming thing you have or what cable package you have, you always get all the NFL games.
Yeah.
And ESPN, people just don't watch it that much anymore outside of destination viewing, and the NBA is not good enough to have destination viewing. And a lot of those places too, you either have to, ESPN, for example, I pay for Xfinity, Comcast, I have ESPN, but I can't watch ESPN outside of my house because they require you to have their ESPN Plus subscription if you want to view the channel outside of that. So why would I pay for both services? So things like that, whereas other things you can view whenever you want. So and like Taylor Packer says, everyone is illegally streaming. And unfortunately for me, what game was that? I think it was on Thursday. I had to watch part of the game because I wasn't home yet, so I had to watch part of it through a stream. It's lame.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if there was more attention just given to like franchises and teams, it's like when you look at the NFL, it's like you never see a team and just think of like one guy, think of two guys, unless I guess you see the Chiefs and you think Mahomes, right? But
yeah, but it's tough because there's only 16 games or 17 games.
Yeah, so I think it's part of it is every game means a lot. Where the NBA, you're just kind of waiting around for playoffs for a lot of teams. I think there could be the issue of the regular season isn't rewarded enough in the NBA like it is with MLB or NFL. Just because of the way the playoff format is. And I don't really know how you fix that unless you reduce the playoff format. But the NBA will never do that because money. So it's just like regular season games might not feel important enough. Could be an issue too. Like, I think there's just a lot of small things that add up. A lot of people illegally stream NBA games more so than other sports even. So I think that also contributes to the ratings being down.
Kind of like Colt's idea that they should find a way to join forces with illegal streams.
Huh.
But I mean, they just got like record-setting TV deal too just a few months ago. It's like it's not like they're hurting for money or anything.
Let's see how that goes. I think expansion will be interesting. I think the future is they expand overseas. I think that's like a distant future, but it's more of a global game now. And you look at the way like European crowds celebrate their teams and the atmosphere inside those games, man. I just wonder, like, imagine an even bigger stadium NBA team in some of these places overseas. And you can tap into that viewership in a way. I think that is the future for the NBA more so than like any other American league is going cross continental. But also I think you got to try and bring back defense a little bit. I think fans get tired of the flopping and like ticky tack calls and that sort of stuff. I think you could move the 3-point line back a little bit to try and make those a little harder to hit to kind of reduce their importance. You'd have to widen the sideline a little bit, but I think you could widen the sideline a little bit. I think that would be fine. I think there's different things that they could try and do, but ultimately I think like the way the game's marketed is a problem. So yeah, lots of small things that they could improve upon, but I don't think like the league is doomed by any means or anything like that. I just think they're still getting a lot of eyeballs on their product and clips and stuff, like brand partners. They're doing just fine. That's why the salary cap keeps going up. So I've talked to people and they said it's political too. They stopped watching. I don't agree with why, but they said it's because of BLM. Bro, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous.
People said that about NFL when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling.
Bro, people said that about the NFL when they had like end racism on the end zone.
Yeah.
Like that's a political message, which is just ridiculous. Like, so I don't even like having conversations about that stuff. Like, if you stop watching the league because of that, I mean, all right, whatever. The thing is I don't think that was it. I don't think that's the issue at all, because why aren't NFL ratings down then? Why is it just basketball then? So, I don't get it. Anyway, we'll be live again on Monday.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Appreciate all of you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. We'll be live again on Monday. That'll be a giveaway day. That'll be our last stream before Christmas, so hopefully you can show up for that because it should be fun. It'll be a little earlier start time, but hopefully you can join that. And then become a channel member. Click the join button so you get access to the prospect notes that we'll be dropping in 2025. We're going to be dropping some members-only content, and I want to do more small little members-only content things in 2025. So it's the easiest way to support the channel. The cheapest membership's $2. So, you know, if every subscriber was a channel member, it would go a long, long way to being able to do even more with this channel. So, easiest way you can support. Appreciate it. Also, an easy way to support is click the like button. Click the like button. We don't ask for likes enough, so I think we gotta start YouTubing, like YouTubers, real YouTubers. So, maybe that's my New Year's resolution.
Like, subscribe,
smash
comment,
that
share.
like button, comment, share with all your friends, and have them share with their friends, and smash that subscribe button, and click the join button. Anyway, we're out of here. Shout out BetUS. Shout out to you guys. Catch you Monday. That'll be a fun stream. Somebody's going to win some cool stuff. So hopefully it's you. You got to show up in order to win. Anyway, catch you Monday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.